Hey everybody, it's your friend and your guy and your favorite YouTuber who keeps sending folks to the hospital, Gardiner. Look, maybe I was reaching a bit when I asked you to like that smash button, but guys, I can't be held responsible for you going overboard, okay? Use your best judgment. When you're liking that smash button, it's more like a like than a smash, right? Maybe just tease that subscribe button instead, okay? And whatever you do, be careful. It's that time of the week again. There's been an incredible amount of Steam Deck news and SteamOS news to go over the last few days, so let's talk about it. And actually, the first thing I want to talk about is I got the Steam Deck that I reserved back in July or whenever the heck they went on for reservation. I've been playing the heck out of it. I've played a bunch of games, played a couple games with Emily. We actually played Age of Empires 2 together. There'll be a link below if you want to check that game out. It works super great on the Steam Deck, and it's also on sale for the next 3 days over on Humble, so go check that out. Use the link, you actually support the show. But one of the very first things I noticed about this Steam Deck in particular, the one that I just got, is that there are some subtle differences between my two systems. And I actually have a video, I've already made it, it's coming out on Friday, about day one versus Q3 Steam Deck. It's going to be great. The little tiny details, the little differences between this version and the one I got back in February or March or whenever the heck I got it. April, I don't know when I got it. But get subscribed so that you don't miss out on this video because it's actually super cool and I can't wait for you guys to see it. And if you're a patron, go check it out because the video's live right now on Patreon, exclusive for you. So go check it out, it's pretty great. Next up, I want to make a few game recommendations. This is something I started doing a couple weeks ago with these news videos, and it turns out you guys really like them in the comments, so I'm gonna keep doing it. The first is Yoku's Island Express. It's a game that's ranked as deck verified, and it plays great, and it's super fun. It's a simple 2D Metroidvania style platformer, but where the title truly shines is in its unique mechanics. See, you play as this beetle that rolls around a ball, and there are these pinball sections in the world that test your pinball wizardry. It's actually quite a fresh take on the tried and true Metroidvania style of gameplay, and I really adore this game. It also has an impressive visual style that reminds me of Rayman Legends. It's painterly, it's beautiful, and the sprites are exquisitely animated. Plus the environments you can't beat. So it's great. It's actually available on sale for the next few hours over on Humble. Check it out with the link in the description. And also we have Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl, another deck verified title. Now this is a game that I thoroughly enjoy. I'm a huge Smash Bros fan, and when I first heard about this title, I was honestly kind of skeptical. I thought it was just gonna be like this, you know, cheap knockoff, but it's actually quite fun. It's a great homage to Smash, but with Nickelodeon and other intellectual property. I mean, you can't beat Invader Zim beating the crap out of SpongeBob with the Ninja Turtles in the mix. I mean, heck yeah. It's also on sale for the next few hours over on Humble. Check out the link below. Next up, let's talk about ETA Prime's next-gen Steam Machine build. Now, he bought an MSI Trident 3 tower featuring a 10th gen i5 CPU with 6 cores and 12 threads. It has 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM and an upgraded GPU, the Radeon RX 580 versus the Nvidia 1600 that came with the PC originally. This little powerhouse can actually run pretty much any emulator, and all his tests with AAA games showed that it was a powerhouse. He was able to install Steam Deck OS using the community-made Holo ISO. And note that this is not necessarily SteamOS 3. This is the Steam Deck recovery image that's been packaged by the community, but it works pretty dang well. Hopefully Valve will get around to releasing SteamOS 3.0 soon, and we'll talk about that a little bit later with some potential partnerships with other handheld PC vendors. So the Steam hardware survey for June hit a few weeks ago, and I haven't had a chance to talk with you guys about it, so let's do that right now. So we can see if we look at the Linux only tab on the hardware survey that SteamOS Holo 64-bit is the 5th most popular version of Linux on the hardware survey, coming in at 7.58% for Linux users. That's actually a pretty big deal. Now, Linux makes up 1.18% of total Steam users, and that might not sound like it's a lot, but it's growing, and it has been for a while. So if we want to do a little bit of math, we can actually multiply 120 million, which is the number of active users on Steam, give or take a few million. And we can multiply that 120 million by 0.0118, which is the percentage of Steam users playing on Linux. From that arithmetic, we get 1,416,000 people playing on Linux. If we then multiply that number by 0.0758, the percentage of Linux users playing on SteamOS, we then get 107,330 installs. Now that's not necessarily Steam Decks, but I would wager that most of that are Steam Decks. That's a respectable number, and seeing as Valve is still fulfilling Steam Deck reservations from the first few hours of the reservation process last year, I'm still feeling confident in my estimation of about 2 or so million Steam Decks being reserved in total. And we can see that that number is actually mostly Steam Decks, because if we compare that number with the most common video card used for Linux users, it's actually the Steam Deck's custom GPU, only slightly less. So we can tell that HoloISO really is not making up much of an impact on this list, but that could change in the future. What's really interesting about this is that the Steam Deck's GPU is the most commonly used GPU for Linux users. So that tells you a lot about the composition of Linux hardware. Quite a diverse bunch if the Steam Deck's hardware is the most common. Gaming on Linux also reported that the Steam Deck has caused Linux market share to crack to its highest percentage in years, which is nice to see. So did you hear about this? RetroDECK. It's an awesome tool to manage your favorite retro games, and it's now available on Flathub. RetroDECK is powered by Emulation Station DE, which is the desktop version of Emulation Station. Now, installation is a breeze thanks to its inclusion here on Flathub. Just install the Flatpak through the Discover store and then add it to your Steam library as a non-Steam game. Now, as you may have noticed, I have a lot of non-Steam titles installed on my deck. I actually used EmuDeck to achieve this. Now, EmuDeck and RetroDECK are different projects. EmuDeck puts the games and their cover art in your Steam library, where RetroDECK uses Emulation Station and its beautiful custom GUI to manage your ROMs. Now, I'm not sure which I quite prefer yet, but I'm kind of leaning towards RetroDECK. But after I give this a real run for its money, I'll let you guys know what I think about it in a future video. Make sure that you like that smash button and get subscribed so you don't miss it. We're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, and I think with your help, we can do it. And thanks. So GPD just revealed that they will be partnering up with Valve to deliver SteamOS 3.0 on the Win Max 2. And by that, I mean that Valve's going to be optimizing SteamOS for the Max 2 and its Ryzen 7 6800U APU. The Max 2 has 12 RDNA 2 compute units, which, just for comparison, the Steam Deck only has 8 RDNA 2 compute units. But even more impressive is that Valve will be selling the Max 2 on the Steam store preloaded with SteamOS. And guys, I couldn't be more excited about this, because honestly, it seems like GPD has turned over a new leaf. I don't know if you remember when the Steam Deck first launched and they got their hands on it, they posted a bunch of bizarre videos on their YouTube channel, and they were trying to like disparage the deck and say it's not worth it and it's just junk. But it looks like they're willing to partner with Valve on this, and that's pretty awesome. Now the question is, why would Valve do this? And it's really simple, actually. Valve rightly does not see the WinMax 2 and other similar devices as competition. Now you might be wondering, well, why not? And it's because Valve has more to gain if someone buys a competing handheld with SteamOS pre-installed. We've already established that Valve's selling the Steam Deck at a loss or without much of a margin. So if another vendor sells a machine with SteamOS on it, Valve doesn't lose any money on the device being shipped, and Valve profits from every game sold. Now this is especially true with operating systems, as customers tend to stick with whatever operating system came with the device. Just look at the Steam hardware survey if you don't believe me. I mean, Linux has consistently been about 1% of OSs for the entirety of Steam being on Linux. But with the proliferation of SteamOS devices hitting the market, both first and third party, Valve and the rest of the community will benefit greatly, and that is awesome. Now, there have been a few small updates in the SteamOS beta channel that I think we should talk about. Now, this changelog had some interesting stuff in it. They added an option to scale the Steam Deck user interface for external displays. They added a toggle for automatic scaling of the Steam Deck user interface for external displays. They added a scheduled night mode feature, which has been missing for as long as I've had my Steam Deck, which allows players to choose if and when they'd like night mode to automatically turn on. They fixed Flatpak Chrome closing improperly when quit through Steam, which has been an annoying bug that I've seen a bunch of times. And they fixed on-screen keyboard showing up under the Steam or quick access menu. Now, these updates are part of the SteamOS beta channel. The beta channel gives you a preview of features coming on the deck, and they aren't necessarily stable, and that's why they're considered beta. If you want to opt into the beta channel, you can go to System, Settings, Steam Update Channel, and change to Steam Deck Client Beta. Finally, I want to talk about AYANEO's announcement. Now, AYANEO is working on their own operating system, the AYANEO OS. And yes, this is a custom Linux distro from the folks at AYANEO. The announcement came from their Indiegogo page for their new AYANEO Air. And I have to admit, what they're planning is pretty interesting, or at least it sounds that way. AYANEO OS is an operating system for gaming handhelds based on Linux deep optimization. AYANEO OS focuses on game management and game device management, and AYANEO has completely independent intellectual property rights in UI design and interactive operation. And then in the little boxes it says, organize the user's games, the game that's running's management, retro game custom option, small application center, AYANEO Evo management center, master all-around handle management center, brand new AYANEO quick set window, self-developed zero power standby technology, perfect equipment management, ES mini system that is well received by users. And then they wrap it up by saying, through continuous optimization, upgrading of software, and learning from users, AYANEO brings users excellent functions and experiences and builds an ideal ecosystem for handheld. AYANEO Air comes with Windows 11 installed by default, and AYANEO OS will be available for download in the future. So it seems like Linux truly is the future of PC gaming. The fact is, AYANEO is recognizing the Steam Deck's biggest appeal, which is the user experience. AYANEO OS will have support for emulation, it'll have an app store with support for Spotify, OBS, Discord, Firefox, and others, which I can only assume that's all coming from Flathub, and it will aggregate your various libraries across Steam, Epic, and others. If they can pull that off, it'd be kind of sick. But the background mockups of the UI don't really give me much confidence. They look very similar to SteamOS, and I honestly would rather have a first-party UI that ships like what comes with SteamOS. But the thing is, many other handheld gaming PC vendors are embracing Linux. GPD and 1X Player are both going to be shipping their handhelds with SteamOS, and that's for good reason, because Windows cannot be used without a mouse and a keyboard. It's a desktop OS. But the flexibility of Linux means that vendors can replace the compositor and desktop environment with anything that they would like, and it's always a better experience than using Windows with a joystick emulated mouse. Hopefully this will lead to an arms race that will get SteamOS to incorporate more features like community mods for the UI that can simplify the emulator and media player integration experience. I would really love to see that. But I'd also like to know what you think. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think about AYANEO OS or any of the other news stories we talked about in this video. I want to give a special shout out to Mitchell Valentino for his continued top tier support over on Patreon. It's because of people like Mitchell that I've been able to grow this show into what it has become today. If you believe in the work that I'm doing and you want to help this show grow, you can join the 100+ strong army of Linux warriors who support this show with the links below, becoming a patron or a YouTube member. And thanks. But I think that's going to do it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time.